Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. Episode number 90. We're so close, well, at least I'm close, to finally getting my hands on Modern Warfare 2. The time is pretty much here for me. By the time you're listening to this, hopefully, is the day I'll be able to finally play the game. I will be getting my hands on the campaign a little earlier. And also, for some people, I'll be getting it later than most of them who've already completed the campaign. But I'll be getting it today, able to try it out, see how it is. I hope that it's as good as what people are saying about it. You know, I've had friends that have already beaten the game, and I've really enjoyed it. So hearing that news is just not just a good sign of relief, but like very pleasant news that at least the game is the campaign at least is good. That's like one of the most things that I was kind of worried about. Not that it was going to be bad, but I feel like the first one was really, really good and had a lot of, I wouldn't say expectations, but like, you know, you make a pretty banging Call of Duty campaign, and then the ones after that are just kind of like, whatever. But that one being like a long-lasting, you know, impression of a modern warfare type story. You know, the sequel is going to be like, oh yeah, well you got to deliver because, you know, people really like that campaign. So that's good. That's encouraging news for me to get excited about Modern Warfare 2. I was so excited and also just so bored of my game library. A couple of days ago, I actually deleted every single game on my Xbox and on my external hard drive. You know, I got most of them back already, but like a couple of days ago, let me just tell you the story, break it down. I was so bored of what I had on my Xbox. And I was actually sad of the game library that I actually had at that point. Just because like nothing that I had was, you know, I wanted to play. You know, I had uninstalled Halo Infinite like a month ago, maybe a little bit less, but like a while ago. I haven't played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 in like a week since, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm not even playing this. I mean, what am I doing? So I just uninstalled it. I uninstalled all these games because I was just like, you know what? I don't play any of these really, and I don't play like a ton of them with my friends, so it's like, why do I even have them on here? If I want it back, I'll just reinstall it, you know? I don't got to keep it on here. And I think that the fact that I was just, you know, it was so close to MW that I'm like, well, I'm not even going to, like, probably think about playing these games for, like, a while. So, like, might as well just delete them. And, yeah. Some of them are back. I downloaded 2 back, but, like, it's still the very, very small catalog of games that I have at the moment. Which, you know, is all right. Because I'm beginning the one that I've been looking forward to all year in today. So it's like, woohoo. I don't got to worry about shit. And it also got me to thinking about a game franchise that will forever be called something else moving forward after this year. And that's FIFA. You know, I had quite a journey with FIFA. When I first started playing FIFA, it was FIFA 11. I had never played FIFA in my life. Wasn't really huge in sports games. I enjoyed soccer at the time. I played it as a kid. I watched some, and that was about it. And then I got introduced to FIFA. And I still think to this day, FIFA might be like the most fun sports game, sports simulator game, whatever you want to call it, out there. Because it's just like the game is nonstop, it's fun. You get to juke players, you get to, stunt on your freaking opponent. You get to have cool high flying, passes and breakaways and offenses and stuff like that, and hit crazy shots and, cool passing and stuff like that. And it's just like, always nonstop. And if you play it like traditionally, like you're always the player with the ball. So it's like, that's how it is with every sports game. 2K, Madden, it's like whoever has the ball, it's you, right? Unless you hit it up with that special mode where it's like you are playing like the forward or the goalkeeper or defender or whatever, like, and you're just that role. I mean, I think you'd have to be kind of insane to do that, unless it's like career. But, for the most part, you're playing every position on the field. And it's just like, it's so cool. But I remember back in the day when it was not as realistic as it is today. I recently played FIFA 22. And before that, FIFA 21, and then 20 before that. And in my whole heart and soul, I was not impressed with the gameplay of those games. The reason being is because they felt too real, if that makes any sense. Like, when the game has gone too real, like when you can't just like blow past players as easy as you used to back in the day. Like back in the day, FIFA 11, 12, even maybe 13 up until that point. If you were Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, it was game over for the other player, the other team, because they couldn't stop you, and you could just blow past them, and you could like literally shoot from any part of the field and potentially score a goal. I used to do it all the time back in the day with my buddies. Like, we would just like fuck around and just like take shots from like deep out in the field and just try to score. And we would do that all the time. It'd be so cool, so much fun. Yeah, we would miss a lot and not a lot of them would go in, but it was cool because like it was like such an unrealistic shot, like that you could never really pull off in real soccer, in a real game, but that's what made it fun. It was just like, it kind of felt like it was more arcadey back then. Now it's too real. The game is much slower, at least I feel like, when you play FIFA, and it's just not as fun. And I feel like with video games like that, like I said, the more realistic, the less fun it became. And ever since, after FIFA 14, I'm like, it's just not as good as it used to be. And I never bought them after that, really. I just always kind of like would kind of sample them out on Game Pass, see if they're any good. This is at the point where like the game is pretty much dead at that point. No one's really playing it. And it's just like, yeah, this never really improved. And like the graphics and the movement sometimes also never really improved. It never really got any better. It just kind of stayed the same. Kind of like Madden as well. Like Madden has not gotten any better for like years. The best Madden that I ever remember playing, the most fun, was Madden 25, which came out in I think maybe 2015 or something like that. Maybe even before that, 2014. But that was the best Madden that I've ever played. It was so much fun. The new ones, it just trash, and not just because of the way that they look or the mechanics, but like the player movements, just like the glitches, the bugs that the game would have. It just got to the point where it's like, I'm not even playing a new game. I'm just playing like a new update for the game. Like they should just do that now with Madden and FIFA. Just like update the rosters, maybe put like a little patch or something like that. Because they're not changing the engine, they're not changing the graphics really. It's just like all kind of staying the same. At that point, it's just like, why even keep playing? It's just like, I'm not going to keep giving the money for a quote unquote new video game when it's not a new video game. And to the point of FIFA changing, I think I might just actually buy FIFA 23, I think, because it's no longer going to be called FIFA after that. It's going to be called EA Sports Football Club, which is because FIFA wants like $1 billion from EA every single year for using the name FIFA. I guess it always comes back to money, right? Why would it not? I mean, FIFA is making a shit ton of money on this game. Why not ask for more from EA, So they're getting rid of the FIFA license. They're going to be called EA Sports Football Club. And I'm just like, I think I might actually have to buy a physical copy of FIFA 23 just so I have it as like a relic. I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to open the game, but I'm just going to have it, sealed up just for for it to be the last FIFA that has ever been made. And who knows, if they decide to come back and license the name again, then I'll just have to, open it and just, whatever. It'll lose its value. But, until that point, I might have to just buy the last FIFA 23 physically, so I can say that I own it. And it'll be it'll be a relic. Maybe even somebody might pay a lot of money to have it, and they might take it off the store. You never know, because with everything being digital nowadays, what if they take it off of the store so you can't even purchase it on the store anymore? That's definitely something that has happened in the past. I remember back maybe a couple years ago, maybe even one. I think it was like Warner Brothers Games took off the Lord of the Rings Lego Lord of the Rings, and you just couldn't get it. I don't know if it's back on or what, but I was like, whoa. I mean, like, that was kind of weird. Like, I don't know why that news made a bunch of headlines or a lot of noise, but it just kind of was like, it brings us to the point where, like, is digital really the best thing ever? Like, sure, it's very simple to download it and to just have it, right then and there. You don't got to buy anything. You don't got to, go to the store and purchase it. You just kind of download it right on your couch or your desk or whatever. But at the same time, it's like you don't really own it. Now, you don't really own the movie when you buy the disc either, but you have access to it whenever you want. And you do with digital as well, but there's always that possibility that they might take that off of the service. It's just, it comes with the cost, That's the scary thing about it. And not really like, terrifying, like, oh, you need to be fearful of this, like it's going to happen to everything. Like, no, it's just like, that's a possibility that it could happen. I don't know. It's weird. It's definitely something like you kind of like, is a thing, and you sort of think about it, but like you're not really going to be like, oh, hey, you better snag up all these physical copies of this game or this movie because, you never know. What if they take it out, or what if they edited it out and stuff like that? Then you got a real problem with on your hands. Like, what's going to happen at that point? I don't know. I just kind of felt like it was it's something that I might need to just buy. And I probably wouldn't buy it on the Xbox. I would buy it on the PS5. That way I can't ever be tempted to play it because I do not own a PS5. And you know what? I feel like FIFA is just more of a more popular game on the PlayStation than on the Xbox. I don't know what it is, but I feel like the cool kids, the cool people out there, they have PlayStations, and not as cool people like me have Xboxes. You ever get that feel growing up that the cool people had the PlayStations and you had the Xbox? Or if you weren't as cool, you had an Xbox? Or I don't know, maybe it's just something that I just noticed now, but like I just always kind of felt that the PlayStation was more popular, and the cooler console than the Xbox. Ever since it was the PlayStation and the Xbox went to war back in the day, in the Xbox 360 and the PS3 days, the PlayStation was just always a cooler console. And, I always kind of, after I bought an Xbox because of, Halo 2, I think, Halo 1, that's why I got an Xbox to play Halo 2. I just never went to PlayStation because Xbox had Halo. But and there was always like those kids back in the day that would literally like light your shit up because you liked Halo. and they liked PlayStation, and their games were much more edgier and cooler looking and, darker. And Halo was not that. It was nerdy. It was for losers and people who just, all you did was play was Halo. And, back in the day, I'm like, hey, that's kind of fucked up. That's even a stereotype of people who own Xboxes and play Halo, that you're a nerd and you like shitty game. That one game that's on Xbox is why you buy an Xbox and not a PlayStation. And I feel like that, is not just me, but a whole generation of people, of why they bought an Xbox is because of Halo. And it just kind of, developed into part of their lives and their personalities. Is I'm an Xbox guy because of Halo. Would I be this proud to say it today? Absolutely not, because Halo is dead to me. And it's dead to a lot of people right now. But back then, right, 2007, 5, 6, and 7, and even 8, 9 and 10 even, like, that was my pride and joy of owning an Xbox, was to be able to exclusively play Halo. And I'll tell you this, the fact that it was also an exclusivity to Xbox made me feel special. And it made me feel like I had a prestigious product on my console that the PlayStation people could not obtain unless they bought an Xbox. And I'll be honest with you, and I mean, I'll be honest, a lot of my friends were PlayStation guys. Through and through PlayStation guys. And what did they end up doing? They ended up purchasing Xboxes to play Halo with the boys. And, some of them ended up liking Halo more. Some were still, like, kind of bitter about it. But at the end of the day, we all squatted up and land up on Halo back then. And that was just a vibe. That was a vibe through and through. And you can't replace that. That's never going to be recreated ever again. I mean, with my buddies, my friends, Modern Warfare 2019 kind of did that. Not obviously not like LAN parties, but just like online stuff. But the buzz that everybody had with Halo back in the day, that's never going to be recreated. Just squatting up with the boys, chilling out, drinking sody pops, and playing either co-op campaign, firefight, Slayer, big team battle Slayer. I mean, those were lit times, extremely lit times. Can never ever be replaced. It'll never be repeated. That was just a time and culture where at that point the internet was fully a thing, but not yet as powerful as it is today, where you needed to be with each other to play these games. You needed to do it. You needed to have LAN parties and gaming parties. And some people will say it was at its peak in 03, 02, 04. Maybe even 05. But for my generation, we're a little bit late to the party. 08, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, absolute pandemonium. Pandemonium. Like I said, we got people who were deep in the PlayStation cult to buy an Xbox 360. From, and you got to remember, like, these people were so demented and so twisted. They made fun of everything about Xbox. Red Ring of Death was a big blow to your argument. Was a big blow to your parents' wallet at the time. Big blow to your fun. I mean, you had no chance if some PlayStation guy brought up, well, you get Red Ring of Death. You had nothing to counteract that. What, like maybe, oh, I hear that PlayStation's overheat. Motherfucker, Red Ring was a pandemic across like nearly every Xbox 360, including the elites back then. It was just undeniably an L. You would take an L. If a PlayStation guy brought up Red Ring of Death, it was over. And the fact that, the boys still purchased Xboxes, knowing that that was a thing. Red Ring of Death, Power Brick, Disk Drive, way behind its time, right? They still bought it for Halo. And to play with the boys. And to game with the boys. Because that's what everybody loved back then. Just the boys. And it's never going to happen again. Ever again. I mean, it's sad but true. But you know what? You have to be able to look back, to relish, and to actually reminisce on these times. Because that's what it's all about. And I get it, right? I'm 29 years old. Why am I talking about this? Some of the best times of my life were just playing Halo with the boys. Like I said, drinking sody pops until 4 a.m. Totally chowing down on Little Caesars pizza till you couldn't fit any more of it in your body. Those times were lit and could never be repeated ever again. After and no more reminiscing, let's talk about some current shit. Last Friday, I was bored. I was like, what am I going to do? What can I do? I don't just want to be here and do nothing. So I decided to go to the movies. I'm like, you know what? I mean, it's not like super late yet. I kind of want to go watch a flick. I want to get some sody pop and some popcorn and watch a movie. And what did I end up watching? I ended up watching Black Adam, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The latest DC superhero comic movie from Warner Brothers. It's been a while. I haven't seen a DC movie, comic book movie, since what? Suicide Squad? Back in 2021, I think? Yeah, I want to say 2021 is when I saw it, when the Suicide Squad came out. I'm trying to think. Was there one after that? Was there one before that? I know the Justice League Zack Snyder edition was, I believe, 2020 in May. I want to say that last year was the Suicide Squad. And that was on HBO Max. Because you know why. So yeah, I think that this is the first DC film that I've seen in theaters. Holy shit, let me think about this one. What was the last time I saw a DC film in theaters? I think it might have been Aquaman 1. I think. I'm going to do a little bit of research. I know that the show's not about that, but let's look at the movies that they've had in the DCEU. I mean, does the Batman really count? I forgot that came out this year because it's such a forgettable movie. I guess it does count, but it's not one I want to remember really. No, actually, I'm wrong about that. I was wrong. The Suicide Squad, the Justice League came out in 2021. Wonder Woman came out in 2020. The Suicide Squad was in 2021. So the last one I did see was the Batman, unfortunately. But Black Adam, right? Dwayne Johnson actually playing as a superhero in this movie. And, the news or the story about this, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, is Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, has wanted to play Black Adam forever. For at least maybe a decade. He's been saying, hey, let me play Black Adam. I want my Black Adam movie to be made. And to the point, I'm like, why though? And then I'm thinking about okay, he kind of looks like if you look at the comic book version of Black Adam and then The Rock, I mean, they're pretty similar, just like the comic book one has hair and The Rock doesn't. So that's the one thing that's inaccurate about Black Adam in the movies. But it's okay, yeah, I see. I see why he wants to play him. He's big and strong. He essentially doesn't need to put any more weight to be being superhero figure. He's already like, fucking superhuman as it is, being Dwayne Johnson. So like, yeah, okay, let's check this out. This movie was delayed, pushed back, production for taking forever, stuff like that. I think it was like supposed to come out maybe last year, but got pushed back a year or something like that. And now it's finally out. So how is the movie overall? Is it any good? Is it as bad as people say? I wouldn't say it's as bad as people say. Now I know that Hollywood critics and Hollywood, people who give out movie reviews tend to be either one way. It's completely good and all. It's a godsend. It's the body and blood of Christ of cinema, or it's absolute dog shit. That's what you kind of get when you see movie critics in Hollywood rate a movie. It's either one or the other. It's never in between, because they don't want to be divisive and have an actual thought or opinion. So right now the critics are kind of panning this movie hard, panning it extremely, extremely hard. I don't want to read any of the reviews because ultimately they're a pain to actually read. Because I think I've read a couple reviews on the show, and like they make no sense. They take forever to get to their point because they're all cute with their fucking wording and all that. But let me just give you a little bit of a rundown with this. Black Adam currently sits at a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes for the critics and a 90% of the audience score. So 40 for the critics, 90 for the audience. That's a pretty big gap of between the critics and the people. And I'm a man of the people, by the way. So whenever that happens, I always kind of like say, okay, I have to see this. Like I legitimately like need to see this to see the truth. Because one side I'm getting negative. The other side is just positive vibes only. So I'm like, all right, what the fuck is going on? You're going to make me see this now. So I'm like, you know what? I'm bored. Let's go watch Black Adam. So here I am checking out Black Adam in a theater. I didn't buy IMAX because the theater that I go to is pretty lit, where the IMAX is amazing, but the standard is also pretty damn good. And I'm like, this isn't Avatar: The Way of Water. I'm not going to shell out some extra cash for IMAX for this one. Let's check it out, though. So, a good thing about this showing, I actually am a Regal Rewards card member, so I only paid $1 for my large popcorn. So I ended up paying $10 at the concession stand. What I normally would have paid was $18, because a large sody pop is $9.70 and a large popcorn is like $9.70 as well. So luckily, I only spent like $10.70 or something like that. I can't remember, but like it was pretty lit. Like immediately I was going into theater already happy as shit because I didn't pay as much for chow. So get to the movie, all right? I'm in it. I'm watching Black Adam, and I have to say, from off the bat, I'm like, the way this is being shot at the moment, because it starts with a flashback, of course. The origin of Black Adam, which is like before Greeks, before Egyptians and all that. That's not a spoiler because that's, part of the character. And it's coolly shot. It reminds me of Zack Snyder's 300. The way that it's filmed, the color palette, it's just like the saturation of the filmmaking. And I'm like, oh, I'm liking this. This is pretty cool. There's a lot of detail in the shots. There's a lot of stuff going on, of like people in this old country called Kadak, I believe, in the Middle East, which is obviously fictional. But it looks very cool. Looks very grounded. Looks real, not like super fake, like just a CGI fest. It looks real, grounded, and practical. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. This is already blowing me away. This is pretty cool. We set up the character of Black Adam and The Rock and all that shit in that. Then we flash forward to some, modern day times where we get the other characters introduced. And then immediately once that happens, I feel a drop in the movies being able to hold my attention. It moves pretty quickly. At the after the flashback, with the side characters and their stories, and I got to be honest with you, it's not like a super strong, compelling story with the side characters. It's fully The Rock. The Rock is Black Adam's story, and whenever the Black Adam and The Rock is not on screen, the story just dips for me. It's just like something I immediately notice, like, okay, this movie needs Dwayne right now, because I don't even know what the fuck is happening, or I don't care about any of these fuckers. So we progress, we discover The Rock, and it's in the trailers. He wrecks shit, and he wrecks a lot of shit, because Black Adam essentially is almost like Superman, like uncontrollably godlike powers. You just blow shit up, can kill literally anybody in his sights. Guns, missiles, rockets, whatever, don't do nothing to him. They don't do shit. So that's cool to see. And it's fun to see too, because he starts out bad and all that stuff, and progressively his character morphs, and there's an arc in there. I'm not gonna say what happens, but like there is an arc. And then one big gripe I think I had in the film was in the promotion for Black Adam. There is a scene where he is flying in midair, like through a desert somewhere, and he's then just like, I don't know the correct aviational term is when a plane gets on, when two planes get on either side of you, left and right. But that's what happens, is like they're trying to say, hey, you need to get down because you're a threat and all that shit. And then in the trailer, he just bashes the wing of one jet and then destroys the other jet. That's not even in the film. So imagine me, little old me, after seeing the film and then seeing an ad for Black Adam somewhere else. I think it was like a football game, and I saw that exact scene. And I remember in the first trailer, second trailer too, and then a couple of ads, and then re-seeing it, I'm like, whoa, that wasn't even in the film. I gotta admit to you guys, I was a little bit disappointed, because that was not in the film. Truly, I thought I didn't even notice it when I was watching it that it wasn't there. But once I saw it in a trailer, I'm like, where was that? So that was a little disappointing. But back to the actual film. Other characters are introduced in this too. We got Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Atom Smasher, Cyclone, and those are like the other DC characters that are in the DC comic book lore that are in this film. Now, I've heard from nerds out there, and some of my buddies who are super nerds criticize the heroes that they got in this movie. Criticize them and be like, why would they get this guy? He's such like a B-tier character. Why would they get this Atom Smasher? He's not even a cool... Shut the fuck up, first of all, and watch the film. The movie, actually, I kid you not, has a really cool team vibe with it. The movie almost kind of feels like a mashup of other DC films into Black Adam. There's a couple times where I noticed that it borrows things from Shazam. Not just the fact that he is essentially a Shazam character, but like just how that movie was, and with the what's the word? I keep doing this. How the characters progress in that movie. There's like a theme from Shazam put into Black Adam, and the team ups with these heroes in this movie from DC kind of gave off a little bit of Suicide Squad vibes, a little bit. So I mean, I noticed that off the bat, like, oh, this is just kind of like a mashup of other DC movie themes and characters, plot types, and all that. It's familiar. It doesn't really take a whole lot of chances in terms of like really establishing anything new or going in a new direction. It really does ground itself in those themes that I think made those movies successful, Shazam and Suicide Squad. So I mean, I was fine with it. I was okay. I was cool. It wasn't like it was painful to watch. I mean, you can definitely see the callbacks to these films, but it wasn't anything that pissed me off. It actually made the movie more interesting and more cool, funner to watch. This easily could have been a dreadful mess, but it wasn't, because I think that those themes and the way those movies work, lend itself to this movie and made this one work. Because, like I said before, I mean, the stuff without Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, like the side characters, not the other heroes, but the other stuff, it was just losing me. As soon as it started, I'm like, oh no, please tell me it picks up, please. So I enjoy that whole dynamic. I think some of the standout characters for me has got to be Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. Now, people will tell you that he's like the DC's Doctor Strange, right? And he essentially is, power-wise. He's an illusionist. He's got like this ability to fuck with your brain and stuff like that. He knows the future. It's very cool stuff. But I think that overall, like, the way Pierce Brosnan played him, it almost kind of gave me like a Professor X type vibe with Patrick Stewart, kind of. He was like wise and mystical and just, all-knowing stuff. And I'm not saying that Doctor Strange isn't, but Doctor Strange has like that youthness still that kind of lends to the cockiness and to the less wise, I would say. Whereas Pierce Brosnan's advanced age kind of lends it more to a Professor X type of wisdom and leader like that. And I actually enjoyed that. I don't watch a whole lot of Pierce Brosnan films, but like this one was a treat because you can tell that he actually cared of how he was portraying this character. And I was just like, wow, this is pretty cool. I actually dig this quite a bit. So that's got to be one of the main standouts in the movie. There's a kid actor in this movie. I don't know his actual actor name, but he plays the son to one of the characters, and he's not good. He's so annoying. His line delivery sucks. He's just he's just all over the place. Typical kid in every movie, starting trouble, being a part of the trouble because of the kid. The whole cliche, we gotta save the kid, and make sure he's not harmed. It's like, okay, I mean, this is just stupid. Why every movie has to have a child that is in danger, that becomes a device to forward the plot? I mean, listen, I know I'm not calling this movie dog shit, but modern day writing needs to improve upon this bullshit device to just move a plot. I mean, come on. How long has it been? The best movie to ever do the plot with the kids was Jurassic Park, and that movie was made like about 30 years ago. When are we gonna stop? Enough is enough. Sorry I got pissed off at that, but you can just feel it. Like you knew what was going to happen with this kid. Like, of course he's going to get in trouble. Of course he's going to be a part of this whole bullshit. Anyway, like I said, he's not a very good actor in this movie. There straight up is a scene where he's supposed to be shouting, but they dubbed over his speaking voice because he probably didn't deliver the lines all that well, yelling. So, I mean, that was kind of awkward. I mean, you could spot it a mile away that it was just blatantly obvious. Like, this guy does not even sound like he's screaming or yelling. He's just talking, but his mouth is moving like he's belting it out. It was just very awkward and weird. I guess like another thing is a con about this movie is like it's one of these movies where they feel like they need to put in a cool song, a hip today's, or not even like a modern day song, but a hip song that was popular back in the day that kind of has a vibe to the movie, but it just kind of throws it off totally. There is a scene. I'm not going to say what happens in the scene, but it's a kind of a big scene in the beginning of Black Adam's like origin, and It's getting tense. There's action. The score itself is good enough, I think. And then traditionally, like with every DC film, they just wipe the score away, put on a song. In this case, they put on Paint It Black and put it to slow motion and just kill the vibe. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking or why they think that this is a cool thing when they do that. It just felt like so awkwardly placed. It did not belong. It just did not belong. And if you watch it, you'll notice it and you'll be like, ooh. Every time it happened too. It happened multiple times. It just feels weird. Like it just seems so out of place. Like who edited this or who greenlit this? Because this is just not good. In my opinion, it would have been a lot better if they didn't have any of the licensed music from other artists. It would have been a lot better. So that happens a few times, and it does take me out of the film. Like every time it happens, it's just like, oh my god, not again. Some more pros. The movie has some tight action. It's very cool. It's just like Superman stuff. It's very cool. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson does a pretty good performance. I think he plays Black Adam as you would kind of imagine Black Adam being played, like kind of evil but very strong and stern, and like, you know, he knows what he's all about and stuff like that. He's not a hero type of character, and he plays it with, like, you know, ferocity and, like, you know, passion, and wants to make you feel that he's, you know, kind of menacing. So he does that very well. He kind of plays dumb in some scenes, which is like, you know, he kind of has a little bit of a fish out of water type of scenario, which I think he does pretty well. There's a couple things that he does throughout the film. It's like, oh yeah, this is just his little thing that he does because he's unaware of what's happening or of how the world is because he's so old and stuff like that. I think that Dwayne Johnson... Oh, what am I saying? No. That's not what I was saying. I also think that with this movie, you know, just him in that role, he carries the movie though. Like whenever he's not in the movie, it just feels like it's not as interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong. The scenes with Dr. Fate, very very cool, and the team, very cool. But he really carries a movie. It's his movie for sure. What was I going to say? There was another thing that I was going to say. That was a pro of the movie. Oh, not a pro. There's a complete fake out in this film. I straight up thought that it was going to end like at one point, like, and I was like about to be like, this movie is so, if they end it like this, and you could have easily thought that it was going to end like this because it feels like it's going to end just like this. I'm not going to say what it was, but like you just, like, as soon as it starts happening, you know, it's like, is the movie over already? Is this how it's going to end? Luckily it doesn't. There's a big fight at the end, so thank God. But I'm like, oh, you faked me out. You like nearly faked me out. And then the twist too with Black Adam's character also threw me off too. I was like, okay, oh, this kind of makes sense of why he is the way that he is. I don't hate it. I'm not in love with it, but it's like, okay, that's interesting. I want to know more about this. So, you know, it finished strong in my opinion. It saved itself. That ending, if it ended the way that I thought it was going to end, probably a 6 or something like that. But luckily, it did not end like that, so it bumps up more. There is a cameo in the movie that you need to see in the mid-credits. After the big bombastic credits roll and they're over, sit in your seat if you haven't seen Black Adam yet, and then watch those end credits if you haven't already been spoiled online. If you have, you know, whatever, it's pretty sick. I'm not going to say what it is, but it was so worth it. So worth it. And actually very, very encouraging and uplifting, and I'm excited. All I gotta say is I'm excited. So overall, what do I rate Black Adam out of 10? Like I said, I didn't hate it as much as people said that they did. I also didn't love it as much as the audience did, according to Rotten Tomatoes. So I'm going to give Black Adam, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, a 7.2 out of 10. Not great, fun though, very fun movie. If his highest grossing movie, I think, opening day, I think, or like as the main movie star. So it's like, hey, good on Dwayne Johnson, But yeah, definitely not a heaping pile of garbage like The Batman. So check it out if you want to. If you have no interest, you can probably find the spoiler on Twitter. So it's like, there's always that. But moving on to something that I finally get to talk about, and I finally get to give my closing thoughts on, and that's House of the Dragon Season 1. So House of the Dragon Season 1 has concluded this past Sunday, and I think if you've been a listener to the show, you've kind of gotten my full thoughts on this show. In my opinion, it kind of started a little weak. I'll be honest, I didn't really have any real main characters to root for. I didn't think that Daemon was all that great. I certainly loved Viserys. I love the era. I thought that it was true to the Game of Thrones feel, the grittiness, the realism, the politics, all that, the lies, the deception, very cool stuff. And then at some point in the show, I'll admit to you, like maybe episodes 5, 6, maybe even 7, kind of, are a little dull. Nothing really happens. It's just all kind of like political buildup and stuff. There's some pretty cool things that happen. But nothing really like you need to talk about or that you want to, really like, oh, can you believe this happened? No, nothing really like that. Some really weird shit happens, but it's not like it's, worth talking about. But, after episodes 8, 9, and then 10 finally concluded, they've got something now. Now, it took them a while to get there. I will say this. It took them a while to get there, but now they're there, I think. Now they're there. They've got the central conflict about to erupt in season 2 that I feel like this show is going to be lit as fuck. We have so many things that are going to be in motion now between the House Targaryen and even other houses now, that we might get something that's truly special in season 2 of House of the Dragon, which I'll say this, I was not expecting that to happen or for it to be that, to excel to this much potential, but it has. And I'm so grateful because, like I said, midway through, I wasn't really feeling it. It wasn't really grabbing my attention. It wasn't like must-watch TV. The past few episodes have been must-watch TV, and they have delivered. And they have not just delivered, but they have put in little seeds for the future season and hopefully seasons for it to continue. So I'm excited. I can't wait. Characters definitely get better for me. Daemon definitely gets better. He gets stronger as he goes on in the season. I still don't really know the difference between the other siblings like Aemond, Aegon, all those guys. I mean, I still get kind of confused with their names. But a lot of shit happens that it's going to be the future of the show is going to be on those guys' shoulders. So it's like, that's super cool to see because now we got build up. Now we got backstory on their childhood and how that's going to affect their futures, in Westeros. And now that we got that, I'm like, oh, thank God we have that, because now they have, inspiration, drive, passion, a backstory to what they do in the future. And if that even, if it's worthy, or not if it's worthy, but if it's earned because of their past, things are set in motion that cannot be undone. To quote Lord of the Rings, the better sci-fi franchise. But, I still love Thrones. But, yeah, super cool. I can't wait. I think that it's going to be truly a great TV show for you to behold in the next coming seasons. Rocky at first, and I think I was not alone at this. I think that me and my friends were talking about that a few weeks ago that it wasn't as strong as I think that it could be, and I still stand beside that. Like episodes 4, 5, and 6, maybe even 7, just not that strong. Just not that strong. But after 8, 9, and 10, bro, I'm telling you this, man. It really just, it lays it all out, and it does a very good job of who's on whose side, and what could possibly happen is going to be crazy. You know, it's just like now I can't wait for season 2. I'm surprised that I wasn't as, not angry, but like wasn't as jarred by the time jumps, because there's not just one time jump. There's like maybe 3 or 4 time jumps within this show that they don't really address until you can actually see that the characters are being played by older people, older actors to portray the younger selves. That's when you really notice. But it's not as jarring as you might think. You know, there's not really like a subtext that says 12 years later or like 5 years later, whatever like that. It kind of just like, it comes up in conversation, and it's organic, which I dug. I thought it was pretty good. Some characters you can tell change completely because of the actors playing them. Others you can't at all, which is kind of bizarre, but I feel like they're just like, well, we have nobody older to play this guy, and we don't want to fucking give him all this old-ass makeup because it would look silly. So they just kind of are in the middle, like, okay, whatever. He's going to look the same because he's got good genes. That's fine. Whatever. But it worked, though. It worked, and it could have been more jarring than it was, but it wasn't. So I think that's a win on the writers of the show, that they didn't fuck that up, because it easily could have been fucked up. And I think at the end of the day, when it all is said and done, I don't think it's better than Game of Thrones season 1, just because of the impact of season 1 and what happens. I think in season 1 of Game of Thrones is so much more impactful to the characters than season 1 of House of the Dragon. To me, Thrones is still a better season 1, but this one's not that far off. Like, it's still pretty freaking good the way it ends. Like, oh my god, it's crazy. So yeah, I'm excited. Positive vibes. Listen, the way that this show had a lot to live up to. Not just the fact that Game of Thrones was so good up until season 7, but you got season 8 that people hate. People say that they can't even watch the show because of season 8. Season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 don't matter to them because season 8 exists, and that's part of the canon. Like, it's that crazy that people will not watch Game of Thrones because season 8 exists. That it is a waste of their time to them. So, I get it. The House of the Dragon had a lot to overcome. Not just being the successor to Game of Thrones, but having to win back people who hated, and I mean hated, season 8 of Game of Thrones. You had to win back people to Game of Thrones because of the hatred towards season 8 of Game of Thrones. So, and I definitely don't like season 8. I'm on the, and it's not something that I care about enough for me to hate it, but I definitely don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, I like Game of Thrones a lot. I really, really do. I don't love it enough for me to hate it. I definitely don't like it. Like, I wouldn't watch it again, but I don't hate it. You understand what I'm saying? I never loved Game of Thrones that much for me to hate it. I definitely don't like it. I wouldn't watch it again, but I don't hate it. So yeah, positive stuff. Very positive. Something else I wanted to touch up on before I go. This is going to be in the sports world. This is going to be a topic about sports that isn't, I think that I wasn't really going to, I didn't think that I would actually have to talk about this because I never thought it would be this, I wouldn't say like it would get this out of me, but I feel like, wow, like that's kind of weird. And if you don't know what I'm talking about on Monday night this past week, Mac Jones being benched for Bailey Zappi against Chicago. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about it because I feel that the media and they want a good story, right? They want a good story. And the story of Bailey Zappi in the past 2 games when Mac Jones was hurt, he's 2-0. He's playing very well. He's playing like, I guess you could say, better than Mac Jones has played his entire first year. Flashy-wise. He's playing very flashy, deep ball stuff, very quarterback, gunslinging stuff, right? Very, flashy, attractive quarterback play. Stuff you want to see on Sundays, right? So, Mac Jones comes back against Chicago in at home in New England. And, he's coming back from an injury, a left high ankle sprain, comes back, playing okay, I think, at that point, throws an interception to end the quarter, or around the end of the first quarter. And then he's getting, trashed, right? By these shitty-ass Patriots fans. Because, I don't know why. I don't know why. Because I guess they saw Bailey Zappi and they're like, oh, he's so good. Blah, blah. And the Patriots straight up abandoned Mac Jones in the moment. Right? After that, Bailey Zappi came in the second quarter and scored 2 touchdowns, or essentially helped score 2. He scored 1, which was a poorly thrown ball, if you look at it. The receiver just adjusted and made the play. And then he had another pretty big pass, to get them into, the red zone, and then they punched it in. And then that was it. And then nothing after that. Couple of picks. I think a pick 6, I can't remember, but it wasn't very good after that. And I tweeted that if Bailey Zappi cannot beat the Chicago Bears, he's not the guy. Because you get dumbass Patriots fans that live in this fairy tale world where every quarterback that they draft is either the heir to Tom Brady or the second coming of Tom Brady. What with every little thing that is kind of similar to Tom Brady's rise is immediately considered the second coming of Tom Brady. These people are insane. They were straight up comparing Mac Jones's physique when he had the cigar in his mouth and he was like a kind of doughy guy. They comparing his physique to Tom Brady's bullshit physique at the combine. It's like, what? Because they're both not in shape, he's gonna be like Tom Brady? I mean, it got so bad that Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were saying hey, well, Brady was picked in the 6th round and Bailey Zappi was picked in the 4th round. You never know, really. I mean, he could be the next Tom Brady. It's like, oh my God, what are we talking about here? This is just a rookie quarterback that was taken in the 4th round. Why are you making assumptions that he's going to be the next Tom Brady? It's just insane. And it's not just the announcers, but literally everybody in New England is like, this is going to be the new guy. This is him. He's it. It's like, with what? With 2 games when Mac Jones is out? What? Huh? Mac Jones was a Pro Bowl quarterback last year. What are you talking about? This is just absolutely ignorance that's being spoken by the Patriots fans. And again, them booing Mac Jones after him being abandoned by Bill Belichick and the whole Patriots staff, coaching staff, they just kicked him to pasture. Saying, yeah, fuck you, we got Bailey Zappi. You have to think that Mac Jones was relieved that Bailey Zappi played like shit after the first, after those 2 drives that he scored on. You gotta be thinking that he's thank God this guy didn't fucking torch the entire fucking team. And the fact that they lost to the Chicago Bears too. Why? I don't care if they had a good game. They're not a good team. Just look at them. Who's their coach? Who fucking knows? I don't even know his fucking name. But I just had to point out the absolute lunacy that was happening during that game, because Patriots fans abandoned Mac Jones, abandoned him in cold blood, just kicked him to the side. Like, fuck you, Mac. We want this guy. And what did he do? He did nothing. He did nothing. Couple cool drives. That's about it. And then these guys were like thinking like in mid-game, they're thinking like, this is the guy. This is the next Tom Brady. Like, shut the fuck up. What are you talking? You sound so stupid. And you could feel the vibe. Watching the game, I felt the vibe. They were showing the crowd all happy and shit because like they thought that they saw that this is going to be the new guy. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? That is no way to support the team. Like, Mac Jones is going to be the starter, probably next game. Even after that, like, there's just no question. If I'm Mac Jones, I'm not feeling good about that team. How they just abandoned him. I mean, that was just so bad. And the fans booing him, like, what the fuck? What are, these guys are loony. Absolute lunacy. I could not believe what I was seeing. From literally like a collective amount of people who were all fucking loony at that point. Just flat out stupid. Embarrassing, sad, and unrealistic. I swear, Patriots fans think that they're living in a fantasy land where everything that they think is a sign to point to the next Tom Brady. Like I said, with the weight, with Mac Jones, his physique, and Bailey Zappe's draft, where he was drafted, and being the backup. I mean, they were comparing, like, they had a picture of Tom Brady being the starter when Drew Bledsoe was hurt, and him with, gear on, like, oh, it's just like back in the day. Shut the fuck up. This is so stupid. I can't believe how dumb you all sound. And I had some tweets. Like, I fired off some tweets that night because I just couldn't believe what I was seeing because I thought it was so premature and absolutely lunacy and idiotic that it just had to be sent out. Like, Bailey Zappe's not the guy. Just stop. Just stop thinking that. They abandoned Mac Jones for sure. And I think that, Mac Jones is probably going to be like, wow, you guys really just fucking gave up on me that quickly after I came back from an injury. What, I had one interception and now you don't even trust me anymore? That's kind of scary, man. I don't like that. That's not a good support system out there. That was, I don't know about that, dude. That just kind of rubs me the wrong way. That's very untrustworthy people. I didn't like that one bit. And I'm not even a Patriots fan. I don't even give a shit about the Patriots. But that was just, that was so, just very immature. That was poorly handled. You can tell that they were just in the prisoners of the moment at that point, and just like going with whatever they thought was going to be cool. Oh, the fans were cheering. Whoa, let's get them out. Yeah. Like, what? What do they know? They're not practicing. What are you talking about? I feel like I aired enough of that out. I mean, like, just insanity. Yeah. I know I haven't talked a whole lot about the NFL season this year. If you missed that, I'm sorry, but I just feel like I need to pick and choose some of these stories, that way it doesn't get stale. But anyway, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. That's gonna be the end of this episode. If you want to catch all the episodes that you haven't seen, missed out, or caught up on the new ones, and get notified, you can subscribe to the Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And leave a like, review, favorite, submit suggestions, share with your friends, do all that good jazz. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next week.